The message this morning is a coward has no power. And I've been chomping at the bits on this one. A coward has no power. And a confession, I am a coward, minus the work of the Holy Spirit. If you remove the transforming work of the Holy Spirit in my life, I would never come to this pulpit. I would never speak to you the way I'm going to speak to you this morning or the way I've been speaking to you. I wouldn't stand for Christ. Actually, looking back in my 20s, I think I was a believer, a prodigal. I don't know if I ever mentioned Jesus for years. I was a coward. And if you remove that boldness of the Holy Spirit, you will be a coward. And just a confession that I am a coward without that. I am afraid of persecution without the Holy Spirit. I'm afraid of what is happening in our nation without the Holy Spirit. I'm afraid to raise kids in this type of environment in where we live in our culture without the Holy Spirit. I'm afraid to lead this church and to preach without the Holy Spirit. I am a coward. And there's so much going on Tuesday, which you all know. I'm preaching to the choir. But often when we see the direction of our nation, when we have candidates that say, yeah, you can basically kill a child as long as it's not born yet. And it's like, am I alive, Lord? Am I in a nightmare? Help me, God. But see, sorrow often produces action. That's one benefit of sorrow, is that it produces action. You'll do things that you wouldn't normally do. When I'm sorrow, like Nehemiah, why should I not be sad when the place of my father's tombs lies in waste? We have become one nation above God versus one nation under God. And because of that sorrow, many of you feel it. You can feel it. And that sorrow should actually drive us to action. That's the point of it. Not to go, oh my goodness, we're going to hell in a handbasket. Let's just walk around miserable. No, but that sorrow produces. And it actually, sorrow is a result of ministry. Many people start ministries because of sorrow. And I'm all for encouragement. It's not doom and gloom. But we have to use this sorrow and lead it to action. Lead it to prayer. Lead it to fasting. Lead it to seeking God versus Facebooking everything and the world's coming to an end. It's this godly sorrow that produces results. Just this week, I hadn't thought about this quote for years, and I was driving. Benjamin Franklin, who it's some doubt he was even a believer, he listened to George Whitefield, and I don't know how you cannot become a believer after listening to George Whitefield in the First Great Awakening of America. But Benjamin Franklin said he stopped a prayer meeting in Congress. They used to have that. Did you know that? Forming the Constitution. They quoted the Bible 4 times more than any other source. They said, hold on, this is not going anywhere. If a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid? And he's saying if God notices the sparrow that falls, is it probable that we're going to create an empire without his aid? And Abraham Lincoln, I believe, 4 fasting proclamations for the nation to go into prayer and fasting and see, that was commonplace. Now we think, oh, you weird Christians, why are you? No, we're just trying to go back to the foundations. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Choose the old path, the old way that is right and that is good. And we will have a new president this time next week. And we need power like never before. I don't know what the results will be. But I know that we need to be filled with the Spirit of God again. So a coward has no power. What I'm talking about is a coward has no spiritual power.